What's good everyone, it's Zigzag here, welcome back to another Geoguessr video, and today we are trying out the official world map, which is the world map that was created for the World Cup. This one was created by some members of the French community and was pretty much well received at the World Cup. Of course there were some issues with it. I found it fine while I was playing, but I realized later on that there should have been more big countries, because if you think about the series Consus versus Fungus, we had tons of big countries just happening to get good seeds in that series, and it was way more exciting than a lot of the other series just for that reason, I think. So yeah, that was kind of my main issue with it for a tournament format, but overall I think it was a decent job, and let's try and get the world record NMPZ streak. I'm not even sure what that would be yet, and also just kind of analyze the locations, because it is kind of an interesting map in many ways. See if we get any repeats from the World Cup as well, but here we go. So first one's in Japan, driving left. Also trying to explain all my guesses. Double plate on the pole here looks kind of more southern. The double plates, you tend to find them, double vertical ones tend to be like here, 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 generally speaking, so more of a south thing. And I think this might be Kyushu just because it's got a bit of a south vibe. Yeah, I don't really know actually beyond that, but let's just try Kyushu here. It doesn't really matter, we're just trying to get the country streak, which we did, but it was Kyushu. Next one here. This looks like it's going to be somewhere in Sri Lanka. So we've got Sinhalese language here, which is kind of very round. Tiled roofs. Sri Lanka loves tiled roofs, just like Indonesia does. So yeah, that's a good little tip to get it over some other countries. Next one here looks like Europe, doesn't it? Looks like we might be driving right-hand side of the road here, based on this is the back of the car. Lots of hay bales. This could be France with a hedgerow. That would make sense. Maybe the car's also being deceptive. Could be somewhere in Ireland or the UK or something like that here. I'm pretty sure France fits the best just because of the car, but yeah, wouldn't be surprised if it's one of the other options as well. So let's send in France here. And it was UK, so the car was just maybe taking the corner at an interesting angle there. Wasn't really thinking Scotland anyway, so can't say I was going to get that close. But that's okay. Losing the streak on a small number is fine. Next one here was Kinmen County. Because it was so flat, kind of had an island vibe, but it was actually Kinmen instead of Penghu, which is fine. We got the country correct. Next one here, these bollards. This actually might be a repeat from the tournament. Anyway, these bollards, they're long yellow ones, going to be somewhere in Iceland for that reason. I feel like this might be over here or something. No, other side. Okay, so there we go. 2 countries in a row. Next, seed. So you can see often, yeah, facing away from the road here. It's a feature of this map sometimes. This should be somewhere in Ukraine or Russia. Reason being, kind of like lots of birch trees, commie blocks, that kind of combination really helps out. Yellow border around the crossing signs here, we can see just vaguely in the background, feels more Russian. Even though I may have gone Ukraine here, I think the prevalence of the birches plus the yellow border on the crossing signs, pedestrian crossing, should be somewhere in Russia. And indeed it was. Nice. Okay, next one here. Okay, so this font on the speed sign here, kind of a very thin font. And the sign being a bit tall looks Hungarian. Then if I look at the rest of the round, it is flat, farming, kind of very warm summer looking. I think this is Hungary indeed, but I could be wrong. And it was right on the border there. Yep, I can definitely see that. And near Austria, we moved to 4 countries in a row. Next one here should be somewhere in the Baltics. Wooden houses over here. This language as well. The dot over the E I could find. But this is 2023 coverage. So Latvia has the most 2022. They all have 2022 and 23 though. Dot over the E. Well, the dot over the E I've only actually seen in Lithuania so far. So I might just try Lith. Don't really have a good read on this round, but I think I'm going to trust the letter over anything else. And it was Lith. Yeah, to be honest, that looked more like Latvia or Estonia to me. Just have to trust the language sometimes. Okay, next one here is Thailand. Square poles, concrete road. We will take that one for sure. And yeah, Thailand's pretty easy to get if you can see a pole. Next one here, we've got some Greece action. Greece often uses double white lines in the center. Very pale road. Green rolling landscape should probably be putting us somewhere in the north, maybe near Thessaloniki or something like that here. Could be wrong though. All the way east there, next to the Bulgarian-Turkish border. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Bit of rolling landscape on that European part of Turkey as well. Next one here, we're on 7. Not a bad start. This one should be Russia as well, I think, just because we got the kind of new coverage camera. This is round poles, which you don't normally see in Russia, but they're kind of connected to a railway, so often poles near railways are a bit less trustworthy. But then we got commie blocks over here as well, surely leading us towards Russia. Maybe Moscow, Perm, one of the bigger cities in Western Russia, I would say. Actually, Ekaterinburg, but yeah, definitely had to be something like that. Next one, Cambodian beer. Yeah, it's a classic meta. Like, if you don't know Cambodian beer, then, well, you'll soon know, because you'll find one and it says Cambodia on it, and then you trust it, and you're rewarded with a close guess. Yes, indeed. It's 9 countries in a row now. Next one here. Probably the most difficult round so far, apart from the other, Lithuania. This actually might be Lithuania again, you know. So one commonly seen thing in the Baltics is folded back of the sign. It's actually not that common elsewhere in Europe. And then I'm looking at this pole as well, square, with a kind of short crossbar. Spruce tree, very common in Eastern Europe. I'm thinking that this is indeed Lithuania. It could also be Estonia, but these poles are not that common in Latvia. But to me it looks more like Lithuania anyway. This building feels more Lith than Estonia. Kind of feels a bit poorer. I think Lithuania's a tad poorer than Estonia as well. And that was actually, okay, it was actually Ukraine. Well, yeah, they share the same poles. The folded backs of the sign, I forgot also was happening in Ukraine. So that's interesting. Maybe we could have looked more at the trees. But it was also kind of like, I understand why I did it, but it was definitely a gettable round. Okay, next one here with the pole painted red at the bottom should be somewhere in Guatemala. Single yellow line also fits for Guatemala. And yeah, it was. Okay, let's build this streak back up. Next one here. Ooh, difficult one. Kind of looks like Scotland. Wooden pole, rock walls, lots of yellow flowers you tend to see there. Could be Ireland as well, but I'm going to go Scotland here. It was actually, Southwest Ireland. Gettable as well, but hey, we lost it twice on a small streak, so that's fine. Next one here, Bangladesh flag. Apart from the Bangladesh flag, we got like tons of palms, kind of a lot of kind of walls around the houses. Definitely fits for Bangladesh. I'm not really sure where this would be though. It's not a typical Bangladesh, that's for sure. It's quite a bit greener, but I'll go in Chittagong, and yeah, I think you get a high prevalence of palms down here on the southern panhandle, and that's why I wanted to go Chittagong way. But yeah, interesting around there. Okay, next one here. I mean, overall, the quality of locations for moving, panning, and zooming, apart from the ones that are faced away from the road, is good. And honestly, the ones that are faced away from the road, I kind of like the challenge. I know a lot of people kind of hate it, but to me, it's at least decent. I don't mind it. I don't think it's going to be the best competitive map. Also, because some of the locations are just kind of random and dumb, like trekkers and stuff. But yeah, this is still a fun map, I think. Okay, next one was France. Pretty easy with the architecture. Black back of the sign here for Brazil, somewhere northeast, I think. Yep. Just based on the vibes of the vegetation there. Ukrainian flag on the pole here. I think also the prevalence of the white painted trees is also pretty common in Ukraine. I'm not really sure if this is East or West Ukraine. I guess I might feel more Eastern, but I'm not sure. And it was Southern instead. Kind of felt warm, so that makes sense. Next one here, I believe it's Lithuanian bollards, orange reflector inside it, blue strip on the plate. So yeah, this should be Lithuania. Maybe near Vilnius, I would say, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Lithuania is not that region guessable, but yeah, I like to try. So that was 5 in a row. Next one here, Ohio Health. So what city in Ohio would we be here? Interesting that it's Generation 3 camera. So maybe not one of the major ones. I guess downtown you wouldn't... To be fair, we do have some pretty large buildings here. That's at least 20 floors, right? So, I don't know. Columbus, Dayton. I'm not really sure. I'm going to go Columbus here. I feel like that feels decent. Whoa. It was actually in Columbus. I wasn't actually expecting to be correct there. There's quite a few big city options in Ohio. I'm very curious why that was Generation 3 camera rather than Generation 4, but... we take a nice score. Okay, let's try and get a high score on this seed, because obviously that's a really nice start. Next one here. Is this Peru, maybe? I thought Peru because of this light bulb, which kind of has a black section and a white section. That light bulb is most commonly found, or like known for being like a southern Brazil thing, especially Minas Gerais. But you also get it in like Bolivia, Peru, even in Australia, you get that one sometimes. But I think this might be Peru. Very green as well here. I don't think it's Mexico. I don't think you get that lamp in Mexico. The way also the bottom of the house is painted here also feels quite South American. And if it's so green, then I would be thinking there's more sections that are green in the north here. Green and hilly around Tarapoto, all the way to Jaén, or however you pronounce it. So I think I would probably just guess outside of Tarapoto here in like a smaller town. And I think that honestly feels pretty good. There are still other options here for sure. I don't think you get that lamp in Colombia though, so I think Peru is probably the play here. Oh, it was in Colombia. Okay, so maybe I'm not really sure how often that would show up in Colombia, but I guess maybe yeah, it did kind of look more like Colombia than Peru, to be fair. But Amazon, you know, I can forgive myself for that. Okay, no high score on that one, on this one, that's for sure. This should be Brazil, Spain, or Portugal. Or Portugal. Next one here. Again, doesn't matter. Losing on a small streak is fine. This is hard though. No strong vibes here. I guess it kind of looks like Czechia or something. And the signs would fit for that, but I honestly don't know whether this is a legitimate streak breaker. It was actually in the far eastern panhandle of Croatia. I guess Croatia is a country with a double panhandle, but that's an interesting one, even near some disputed territory there on the Danube. But very green for eastern Croatia, I guess. Kind of a difficult round. These mountains kind of look like Lofoten to me. Huge peaks mixed with not too many trees. I mean, they are kind of covered in trees, but they're kind of bush trees rather than proper fully fledged trees. So I think maybe it's correct, and it is. Nice. Okay, there we go. 20,000.2 there. Let's continue on here, see if we can get another successful streak, or, you know, a successful seed. We've got a bunch of yellow plates here on the front of the cars. That almost leads me towards, well, interesting, so 10 kilometers per hour. That would be rather slow. I think that's going to be miles per hour. I think we're in the US here. Yellow plates also make sense for that. It doesn't really feel like New York, but it could be. Especially with Generation 2 camera, though, I'm thinking that this is actually kind of likely to be Alaska. But this tree here doesn't feel particularly Alaskan. It kind of feels like it's growing too well, in a way. But we do have a lot of, like, kind of northern-looking pines, so it's not out of the question. Regardless, I do think it's US, so I'm not too scared where I go. But it doesn't feel that Alaskan. I think I have to go Alaska. I think it's with the Generation 2 camera, it makes more sense. But I don't pick where this would actually be. Let's go in Sterling, Alaska, which, yeah, could be possible actually. Where's it actually going to be? Okay, Fairbanks. Wow, Fairbanks is not normally in that camera generation, but this is a side road in the kind of university area. Did not realize that we're in college Fairbanks actually, but did not realize like Fairbanks is such a spread out and kind of big town here. But 2 streak, we'll take it. Okay, next one here. We should be somewhere in Mexico, I guess, with this octagonal pole. Now this kind of pavement, the kind of cobblestone pavement, I believe that's kind of more common in the west here, maybe Jalisco, Colima. I think something like that. I'll try Colima here. It kind of looks like that. It was Colima. Nice. Okay. Excellent guess. Getting the state in Mexico, very, very satisfying, especially a small one like Colima. Next one here, though, we have maybe some Germany action. I mean, the pavement looks very Dutch, but does not appear to be a Dutch yellow license plate. We also have Scots Pines, which I do not feel are that common in the Netherlands, but definitely findable. I guess the other option here is Belgium with the brick house. Shutters on the windows, not particularly German, to be fair. Another reason that Belgium's possible here is that we have these, like, curbs on the side of the road, kind of gutter curbs. That is quite common there. And I'm trying to ascertain if we have a bit of red on the license plate. Look, this is the type of round where actually checking the copyright is going to be necessary because all the Germany coverage is 2023. Okay, good news for the copyright haters. I can't find a copyright here. I mean, there definitely are some, like one in the trees here, but it's just not quite legible because of the sky being so bright. So, that's fine. Obviously, there will be those kinds of rounds where you can't see it. Essentially, the question is here, do you trust the trees, which say more Germany, or do you trust the plate and definitely the road, which looks more Belgian or Dutch? I think we trust the road here. I think it feels kind of like Belgium with that, and I would just guess in a forest here, like National Park could certainly be the type of place where you have those trees. I think that's what we're going to lock in here. I'm kind of thinking that Germany is very possible here, obviously. But I think the plate might be slightly red, so let's see if I'm right about that. And it was actually Belgium, very nice. Moving on only onto 3, I probably spent too long on that, but we'll definitely take it. Next one here, walls around the houses plus the red soil should just be somewhere in South Africa. Next one here is, you know, immediately looked like Eastern Croatia to me. Very pale road, and I think that might be a blue fire hydrant, so I think that would basically guarantee that we're going to be in Croatia here. And then the country where you really see those are Hungary, and I don't think this was Hungary here, it's just Croatia. Very nice. Okay, the 23,000, even, I mean, we actually would have had a really great score had we clicked Fairbanks, but all in all, that was a good little seed. Okay, next one here. And we're looking at some Turkey action. Turkey is very easy to recognize because you have these capital letter words with the lowercase i's. That's a Turkish letter. I have no idea where this is, though. It kind of feels more... I don't know if it feels more European or Asian, actually. I guess it feels more Asian, but really mixed vibes here. I could see it being all the way west as well. I'm going to go in Erzurum here. It was actually Patnos, so honestly, that's actually a good guess, but I really didn't know. Next one here, lots of olive tree plantation. I would say this is just going to be somewhere in, were they Portuguese bollards, actually? I was going to say this was going to be somewhere in Spain, but I guess we should go near Beja. I think it's called Beja over here, where you have that kind of very Spanish-looking landscape, but bollards might indeed be Portuguese in the background here. I think so. So, wooden pole as well probably fits slightly better for Portugal from what I remember. And the White House over here means that we should at least be in Portugal or the western half of Spain. So we'll get a good score regardless. And it was actually down there in Portugal. Very nice guess, if I don't say so. Next one here is interesting. This is another one where checking the copyright date's probably going to be necessary, but this poll looks Latvian, so that's going to be our default guess. We just want to make sure it's not Russia, because you do see those popping up in Russia sometimes. This is actually another example of a round where I've not been able to read the copyright. There's a pretty clear one here, but I just can't quite make out the last number. All in all, this is a Latvian poll, but I think the round looks Russian. I don't think it looks particularly like Latvia, and especially these birches make me think more of East Russia, so I'm thinking even like Omsk or Tyumen or like Novosibirsk or something like that. So I'm going to send it in here. Could be quite wrong, but I feel good about it. And it was Omsk there. Nice. Yeah, sometimes you just, I mean, checking the copyright's good and all, but sometimes you can just get in the landscape anyway, and it's always nicer to do that, of course. Next one here, we got a bunch of pine trees, yellow outer lines, kind of rolling landscape with a lot of population, probably somewhere near Mbabane or Manzini. I'll try Manzini here. And it was, yep, in that kind of area. Next one here. Long antenna. We've got, I would say this is probably Israel off the bat. The long antenna is definitely more common in Israel than it is in Spain. A lot of olive trees here. Very pale road, which probably feels better for Israel. And then the metal pole, especially feeling good for Israel here. But there's not too much else to say here. I think I'll just send it in. Yeah, don't think I have too much against it here. I'm just going to send it in like this. We'll see. And indeed it was Israel there. We moved to 11 streak here with a 23.7, so definitely two back-to-back pretty decent games there. Let's see if we can continue that kind of streak. Next one here. Urban Resita. Interesting. So vibes here are definitely Eastern European, Central Eastern European, maybe ex-Austro-Hungary with the architecture like this. I thought it kind of looked like a Hungarian building, but maybe I'm actually thinking this is more... We have a Dacia car, by the way, so that actually could be somewhere in Romania, by the way. Maybe on the Hungarian border. There's a significant minority of Hungarians in Romania that built a lot of Hungarian-looking houses there. It's interesting, because I was thinking more Czechoslovakia, but looking at the Dacia and the thick road lines as well makes me want to go Romania instead. So I would say if it is Romania, then surely somewhere near Cluj-Napoca or this kind of region where you get more Hungarian kind of looking buildings. We'll try it. And it was actually in the west, but, you know, actually much further south. Not that near to Hungary. Next one here, Indian pole tops, but it looks like Sri Lanka. So I would guess all the way south here. And that's looking like a, well, actually I don't want to go all the way south because that looks like a Karnataka pole top here. The kind of lower crossbar that's straight. And yet, I'm going to go against that on this occasion because I actually think that this is looking too much like Sri Lanka. So I'm going to go down here. And okay, it was actually in Karnataka indeed. Or just in the max north part of Kerala. That's why the poles were kind of mixed between Kerala style and Karnataka style. But 13th Street. Next one here, this is familiar looking. Anyway, we have probably what looks to be Spanish, 636. Would that be Spanish? I guess so. I think it's Spanish language though, right? So we can probably send this in. Mascare, yeah. I don't think it's Italian. But to be honest, I don't know any word here particularly, which I could like just differentiate. I think flamenco dancing is Spanish, right? And then also trajes with the J also seems more Spanish than Italian to me. So I will try Spain here. I'm at least like 80% confident, so I'm just going to go for it. And oof, very close to the Portuguese border, but we'll take it. 14 here, actually going decently. Okay, we have black water tanks on the roofs here, and it kind of looks a bit like Jordan. So that's kind of my 50-50 here, Palestine or Jordan. what is that number plate? I don't know. It's definitely not a Israeli one. I'm not frequently in this situation where I'm actually kind of torn between the two places, but this one is kind of uniquely generic looking. I know that Ramallah has a lot of those black water tanks, but yeah, I still don't really pick it here. Like, I'd love to be able to get a better view on that number plate. Honestly, I think I know Jordan well enough. Do I? Okay, if this was Jordan, it kind of looks like Jerash, but again, I don't really think it's Jerash. Amman is probably most likely here, but it could be one of the southern cities as well. I think it looks more like Israel, though, or Palestine, one of the two. I mean, on Geoguessr, you know, notwithstanding all the conflict that's going on, sadly, they're counted as one because the borders are too messy. And I think I would go Palestine here. I think so. Curious, though. I feel like this might be a throw. I don't know. There should be some way to tell which country it is, but I just don't. I'm looking around the screen. I don't think the poles help too much. The lights probably help, but I've never really needed to use them. The architecture, lots of white brick here. But yeah, I don't really pick it. I do not. Yeah, I'm gonna try Ramallah here. And it is actually in Bethlehem instead. Wow, there we go. Not an easy round. I'm not really sure. I was like half expecting Jordan's shot there, so we continue on at 15. Next one here. We're speaking Cyrillic, and that might actually be a Ukrainian specific letter, the I there, with the 2 dots on it. So, do I actually see anything else that makes me feel good about Ukraine? Looks like it might be like a bit of spring coverage here, new leaves on the trees. That's more of a Western Ukraine thing. And I mean, it looks like Russia or Ukraine. There's really no way to tell apart from the letter here, I think. So now I'm looking for anything else that I could say as Ukrainian language, because of course buses could travel or could just be something else. K-I-I trans. So would that be Kiev? I don't know. So K-I-I. Could be some. Oh, Kryvyi. K-I-I. I mean, it could be Kryvyi here actually, because that has a K and I and an I with a thing on top, which this one appears to as well. Why not? I mean, Norpa. Oh, it says Ukraine. Nice. I'm pretty sure it says Ukraine, right? Ukraine. Yeah, nice. Okay, we're good. And it was Kiev instead. Makes sense. But we continue on here. We are on 16. So this will be the last streak of the video. Hopefully we can run it up to at least a bit more. This looks like BC, British Columbia, or the US. The question is which. Now, the kind of dividing guardrail here being concrete, obviously not even a rail, is very British Columbia. So I would say that we are indeed there. But it's not guaranteed. You do find those guardrails elsewhere. I think I will go for it though. That is definitely something you see more so in Canada for sure. And it was indeed there. Very nice. Okay, next one here. This pole top is the Sulawesi pole top, particularly central and northern. And of the two here, I'm thinking this is more north. We have more white brick, so I'm gonna try Gorontalo here, but it could be anywhere to be honest. It was all the way north, but instead further west as well. This looks like Ukraine, slight reddish tinge to the road. Bent backpack of the sign apparently is a Ukrainian thing. I don't think it's in Russia, so good to know. I'm just gonna go Ukraine. Actually, that might be a good NMPZ clue, to be honest. This is New Zealand because it looks like Australia, but it's not. Plenty of reasons why this is New Zealand, but I'm just going to send it in for the sake of time. Camera on 20. We got a green plate here. This is South Africa with the Generation 4 camera. And we got yellow outer lines as well. So yeah, definitely going to be South Africa here. Bloemfontein area seems fine. Not really sure where it is though. And actually in Pretoria. Okay, 21 countries in a row. This is going quite nicely. Here we have some Latvian bollards, I want to say. Thin Latvian bollards. A very bright camera here, also very common in Latvia, not to mention the 2022 copyright, so everything is fitting for Latvia here, I would say. Next one here, ooh. Now, I would say the fact that we're so panned away from the road means that this should be hiding a Google car of some kind, which is what they tried to do normally. And that in itself is a clue, and I would say Faroe Islands is what this looks like. Just the way we have no trees on this cliff. White road lines, all feeling kind of very fjordy. I'm not really sure which. I don't think it's Torshavn, but I could see it being south of here actually. Could that actually line up quite nicely? Do we have like a little Let's look up with some bays and some ships here. Something like that could work. Do we have a village there? We don't. So it's probably actually north then. I don't think I see anything that lines up nicely. Let us go instead here. Not really sure. Where's it? I was really expecting to be correct there. That's cheeky because it made it look like there's going to be no Geoguessr, or it's hiding Geoguessr. So that's, I mean, hey, that's a fair play to the map makers there. Let's just have a look here. See how badly I threw. I mean, still, maybe this is a tap around. If I was on a really high streak, I would have tried to find the actual exact inlet here because it would show up on the map for sure. I mean, if you look here, you can see it does show up on the map in the bottom of the screen. But I mean, yeah, this still looks fairly Pharaoh's. Maybe the road line's also wrong. But okay, like facing like this, yeah. I mean, I can definitely see. I don't really hate myself for the guess, you know? Even though maybe this is like more the coverage you get in Iceland, yeah. Still, I don't hate myself. It definitely looks like Faroe Islands. There are certain places in the Faroes that look like this landscape. So there we go, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video all the way to the end. I'll be back with more World Cup coverage soon because I'm working on the vlog. Yeah, I'll see you guys in a video very soon. Till next time, and goodbye.